Okay, here we go with homework sheet 10. First question, fraction question. We have some brackets, so we need to do the adding part first of all. So the first thing we're going to look at is the whole numbers, the 5 and the 3. And we're going to add them together to make 8. Add them together to make 8. Then we're going to deal with the fractions, looking at 6 and 8. What's the first number that 6 and 8 both go into? Is 24. That's going to generate your new top numbers. Add them together and you'll have done the fraction part, 8 and so many 24ths. Then you deal with the 4/5 off. Now remember, off in mathematics means times, so that's 4/5 times 8 and whatever you got for your first part. Now you must, unlike last week, remember that that has to be turned top heavy. We need to turn that top heavy so that we end up with 4/5 times something over 24. And then we do our cancelling and get your final answer. Question 2, the Rice Krispies. There's been a 20% increase. So that means we've got the 100 that was there to start with, plus the 20% gives us 120%. Turn that into a multiplier or a decimal to get the multiplier, and then because we're looking for the weight before, it's a reverse percentage. Reverse percentage means we divide. So whatever the weight is now, 750 divided by your multiplier. Question 3, Mark Deman, the goal scorer. Well, he scored 26 goals out of 42 games and he scored 23 goals out of 36 games. So the secret with this question is this part here which says out of. Okay, 26 out of 42 can be written as 26 out of 42, write it as a fraction. 23 out of 36 can be written as 23 over 36 as a fraction. Now if you get your calculator and times them by 100, that'll turn them into percentages. So multiply each of these fractions by 100, turn them into percentages, and then looking at these numbers here you've now generated, that'll tell you which year you had the best percentage return. Question 4, equations. Take the -3 over, and then you've got 6x equals. Now remember, when it goes over it changes sign. So it's going to change from -3 to +3. Then divide by 6 to get your answer. Now there's no fractions this week. The second question, 5 times x. And then a lot of people forget you've got to do 5 times 2. And then 2 times x. And then 2 times 8. Okay, so you now have x's on each side. So the way that we deal with that is we remove the x's from this side, which removes them from this side. So you end up with just a few x's here is equal to, and the plus 10 goes over, equals a number, and then divide through again, I'll tell you what x is, and it's not a fraction. Question 5, start at 110, so let's change that, start at 110 and then take away 9. Where does that take you to? Is that in the 7 times table? If it's not, take away another 9. Is that in the 7 times table? And you go on and on and on until you reach a number in the 7 times table. Question 6, Usain Bolt. Formula for speed is equal to distance divided by time. The distance he's running is 100 metres. The time he's taken is 9.58. So we can get that on your calculator. And that is metres per second. Now we have to change that for the second part of the question into kilometres per hour. So we're going to have to change the metres into kilometres and the seconds into hours. So let's deal with the seconds into hours first of all. If you know he does so many metres per second, if you times that by 60, that'll be metres per minute, and then times it by another 60, that gives you metres per hour. Then how do you change metres to kilometre? You divide by 1,000. So it's times 60 divide 1,000 for a part B. Part C, how are we then going to change that into miles per hour? Because we know that 1 mile is 1.6 kilometres, whatever answer you get for B, divide that by the 1.6 to turn it into miles. That will then give you miles per hour, and you can answer the question about breaking the speed limit. Question 7. Your aunt, Amanda Lynn, gave you the £100, you've put it in the bank at 7% interest. 7% interest means it's an increase of 7%. So that's going to be 100 add 7, which is 107%. Turn that into a multiplier. So you're going to do the multiplier to the power 50, because you've decided to leave the money in there for 50 years, times the £100 that you started with, and whatever that comes out to be on your calculator. Lastly, number 8, Sleepy, in his plan. First night he's doing 10 minutes, then 20, then 30, then 40, so the fifth night will be 50, and so on and so on and so on. Now part A says, what does he sleep in? What would his total sleeping time be for the first 10 days? So we continue this down until we get to 10 days, which will be 100 minutes, and then we're going to add all them up. That's going to be an answer in minutes. You need to then change that into hours and minutes. For part B, how long will it be before he gets 8 hours sleep? First thing you want to do with that is you want to change that into minutes. Once you've changed it into minutes, that is automatically going to tell you how many nights sleep it is, and I almost told you the answer there. Okay guys, that should help.